Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to a late night stream for me. Normally we stream at 5 o'clock, but sometimes we have to move stuff around to accommodate, and I'm happy to do that. So we're going a little bit later today. But welcome to the show. Normally I'm live at 5 p.m. I go live on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at this channel at 5 p.m. But again, we're doing it a little bit later today. So we've got some interesting stuff coming up this week. Let's bring up my little thing here. Hang on. Oh my God. I've got so many screens open right now. And actually, my guest today is going to be able to help me with some advice for some of the stuff we've got coming up this week. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Basically, okay, so I've got an awesome guest today. He is like the right kind of libertarian. Tomorrow, I'm going to have on the wrong kind of libertarian, and he's going to try to convince me that I have been lost in my ways, that I've been lured into the evil Mises caucus, and that really I should go their way. We're going to have John Hudak on the channel tomorrow. I know my guest has some experience with having him on his channel, so I'm hoping for his advice. But I do think this is going to be a fun, if not little bit contentious chat. And then on Friday, we have an extra special stream because I'm starting at 9 a.m. and I am streaming the entire Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania convention, at least day one. It was an epic shit show. There was fighting, there was yelling, there was crying, there was quitting the party. It is amazing. We are going to be streaming the whole thing on Friday, all day, starting at 9 a.m. And this is definitely something we're going to be talking about with my guest today on the channel. Now, if you appreciate the work I'm doing, not only bringing you guys libertarian nonsense and drama, but also trying to explain CRT and the woke bullshit and generally calling out the news media in general, you're going to want to come and be a member of my locals. This is what makes it possible for me to do the work I'm doing. My locals community is the best. We got a couple events coming up in locals. On Saturday, we have a craft and bitch. We call it Bitchcraft. Basically, we get on the channel, or excuse me, we get on a community Zoom. It's totally private, not recorded. We get out our crafts. Some people knit, some people crochet, some people clean their guns, some people fold their laundry, some people draw and paint. You can do whatever you want. You can also just hang out. But we're going to be doing that at 3 p.m. on Saturday in my locals. And then in a couple weeks, we are going to be having our next book club with one of my favorite guests, Dr. Howard Asher. Howard has written a new book called 2024. It has just come out, and we are going to be reading it for our book club. So there's still plenty of time to order your book. Make sure you read it. And then we're going to have a nice chat with Howard in my locals community on March 26th at 3 p.m. And we're going to talk about the book and what it means for our place in what's going on in the world. And it's really incredibly relevant. I am so pleased with what Howard put together, and I think it's going to be a great discussion. If you want to get access to that stuff and all the rest of the exclusive perks and locals, to include 2 Zoom calls every single week with me and the entire community, you want to join at kb.locals.com. You can join for $5 a month. You can join for $50 a year, which gives you 2 months free. You can also make a one-time gift. And all of these donations really help me out with the work that I'm doing. So I try to provide you guys lots and lots and lots of value. Well, I want to bring my guest on to the channel. We have an amazing libertarian with Joshua Smith coming on the channel today. But he has something he needs to answer for. He has this that's been going around the internet. And I want an explanation. Josh, what is going on? Are you a World Economic Forum shill?
Listen. The takeover doesn't stop at the Libertarian Party. We're going straight for the moon after that. We're going to take down the big, bad, evil WEF next. That was something that my friend Zach Varnell made and posted out of the blue and said, you need to answer for this. And I've been laughing about it all day because it sunk people.
All of a sudden, it becomes a rumor on the internet and it's a real thing. I know exactly how it goes. Fun times.
It was pretty fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. I've been laughing about all the people who fell for it all day long, and it's like it's not even a good Photoshop. Like it's a bad Photoshop. If you look at it, it's terrible. Like they literally ripped my bio and picture from Elpedia and just put the World Economic Forum at the top. I mean,
it really definitely looks legit to me. It looks legit.
Yeah, because let's talk about how much the World Economic Forum wants to have a libertarian on their board. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, we already have our first super chat, and I think this is going to be a good, nice kickoff. Who would win in a fist fight, Nick Sarwark or Johnny Waldenberger?
You ever seen that MMA video where it's a double knockout? Have you ever seen that?
I'm a girl. I don't watch
Where
MMA.
they both swing and both knock each other out
Oh,
cold.
that would
That's
be what it would?
yeah, except that they couldn't knock each other out, so they'd both cry at the same time, and that's probably what. Neither of them could punch hard. I mean, Nick Sarwark couldn't even chop down like a very small tree with an axe in flip
I do
flops.
remember
So
seeing that picture. That was an
yeah,
amazing
very
photo.
sad. Definitely not somebody you want on your side through Armageddon. That's for sure.
No, well, I did get to spend some time with both of them this past
I'm
weekend in
sorry.
Pennsylvania, and that's definitely something we're going to talk about. But I just want to do a little intro because we definitely have some libertarians watching tonight, but we also have some non-libertarians watching. Josh, why does the Libertarian Party suck so badly?
Oh man, is that the intro you want?
Yes.
Listen. I could sit here and talk about myself all night. Let's talk about the Libertarian Party. So
Mhm.
there's actually some history there with the Libertarian Party and why and the reason why it sucks. So Libertarian Party was founded in the 70s. Okay, we've only been around 50 years. So people are like, oh, you've been ineffective, this and that and this and that. It's like, well, look, we're one of the youngest parties in the country as far as like you know parties with 50 state ballot access go, right?
Mhm.
I mean, even the Green Party doesn't have 50 state ballot access. So it's it's still in its infancy. But when it started out as this beautiful thing. It was Murray Rothbard was a part of it, David Nolan was a part of it, Tony Collette was a part of it. I mean, there was wonderful people that were a part of this thing, and many of them were Mises backed kind of people. I mean, Murray Rothbard, for crying out loud, was Ludwig von Mises's understudy. I mean, he took all of Mises's ideas and continued the work that Mises was doing after Mises died. Of course, Hans Hermann Hoppe took Rothbard's work and continued that. He was his understudy, who came from the very, very left, by the way. Hoppe did. But anyway, so it was this great idea to kind of show the two old parties, hey, we're not going to deal with you ending the gold standard. That was a big reason why they did it. They didn't support the Vietnam Wars. I mean, they were really, you know, they were libertarians. They were
Mhm.
libertarians that were operating in Barry Goldwater's Republican circle, right?
Right.
And when the Republicans made it very, very clear that they were no longer going to support freedom or liberty or economic freedom or liberty, right? These people splintered off from the Republican Party. Some came from the Democrats as well. A few did. And they decided they were going to start this beautiful anti-war, pro gold standard, liberty-based party. And of course, they're gonna give it the name that it should have, the Libertarian Party. So that happened, and then sometime down the line, the Koch brothers got involved, and Mises and the Koch brother or Rothbard and the Koch brothers did not get along. The Koch brothers wanted to kind of do the same milk toast bullshit that the Republicans were doing. They didn't want to be too vocally anti-war. They wanted to talk about these kind of woke issues that were arising in the 80s. And Sarwark and Rothbard said, "Fuck you," and we're not going to do this. And he left. He left the
Mhm.
party. He left Cato. He helped with Lou Rockwell to start the Mises Institute, which is, in my opinion, the best libertarian institute in this country. If you're familiar with libertarian values at all, there's definitely a couple different schools of thought. But when it comes to like pure, unadulterated, like unabashed, like we are going to stop fighting wars. We are going to stop letting the government give rights to screw us over to corporations. I mean, we are going to stop. We're going to stop all this government interference in the market. The Mises Institute's the only one talking about that, right? And so he started that, took off from the party, and the party just slowly descended into this woke. It's second law of politics, right?
Mhm.
Anything not explicitly right wing will eventually become left wing. I mean, that's kind of how it is. They,
Yeah.
and I know I had you on my show, and it's something that we talked about because you had a fucking knitting club,
Oh, yeah.
okay, crocheting club that became a leftist woke, just
A
absolute
nightmare.
cement, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then you're supposed to be talking about crocheting shit, right?
Mhm.
and so and so uh so it just started to descend into this chaos. Well, with the Ron Paul movement, in '08 especially, but Ron Paul ran for president as a libertarian in 1988. He
Mhm.
paid his lifetime membership in gold, if you can believe that. Really awesome. I'm a big Ron Paul fan. Obviously, anybody who knows
Mhm.
me knows this. And sometime after that, Harry Brown was the presidential candidate in 2000, 96 and 2000. He was amazing. He did really great things. He was the only one probably in the entire country that was brave enough to put out an op-ed the day after 9/11 saying, hey, we're responsible for this. We're responsible for this shit. We need to not go fighting wars over in the Middle East. He was the only person, him, Justin Raimundo, and Scott Horton were the only people that were brave enough to put out these op-eds the day after 9/11. So they were still brave. They were still bold. They were growing. Harry Brown had doubled the membership in his presidential run in 96. And then in 2004, Michael Badnarik was a presidential candidate. He was a sovereign citizen, for crying out loud. The guy didn't even have a driver's license. He had to be driven around the country to state conventions to try and get the nomination. I liked Badnarik. He was really good. He didn't have like the appeal factor, right? But he was a great libertarian. And then in 2006, some kind of neocon, warhawk weirdos kind of started coming back into the party. 2001 saw a lot of people depart from the party after 9/11 because George Bush said, hey, we got to be patriotic, we got to go fight all these wars in the Middle East, myself included. I was 17 when 9/11 happened. I joined the military right after, and within 6 months of joining, I was in the Persian Gulf on a ship for 6 months on the USS Constellation. I was, my ship was a big part of the shock and awe campaign. So it really did give us this sense of patriotic duty that we had to go and fight these wars with people who were not even the cause of 9/11, right? Because my ship was dropping bombs on Iraq,
right?
And in my opinion, I'm 18 years old, going, hey, wait a minute. I thought these were Saudi nationals via Pakistan that hijacked planes and flew them into our. So we're fighting a war in Iraq, and that was kind of what opened my eyes to all this shit. But a lot of people left the Libertarian Party. I mean, they had a mass exodus because they were an anti-war party, and the country was no longer going to support any kind of anti-war movement. All that anti-war sentiment that started after Vietnam was dead. Everybody was pro-war, pro-hawk. We got to go fight. I mean, we still had some cells out there. The bombs over Baghdad people who were like out fight, in San Francisco protesting and stuff, but it wasn't anything near what the 70s anti-Vietnam movement was, right? And so it started to die down, and so that it was ripe for a takeover, right? And so these people, these Koch people and stuff started coming in, and the 2006 they had the national convention in Portland, Oregon, and they call it the Portland Massacre because they usually try to not have the conventions on coasts. That makes it a little easier for people to show up. So a ton of people didn't show up, and one big giant caucus showed up to the national convention in it wasn't even a big caucus, but they showed up to the national convention in Portland and completely gutted the platform. I mean, completely gutted the platform. They took it down from like 5 or 6 or 8 pages down to like 2 pages or whatever. And I'm not personally against a smaller platform. I think it's actually a good thing.
It is. The platform now is a little much, I have to say.
Yeah
It's a lot.
Exactly. But and trust me, it's a fraction of what it used to be before the Portland Massacre, right? And so but those same types of people were the ones that started kind of bringing in this almost like a warhawkish vibe. I mean, this neocon vibe, right? And then Gary Johnson came about, right, in 2012. And look, I was working on Ron Paul's campaign in 2008. Okay. 2012, I was supporting Ron Paul as well. But I was watching Gary Johnson. I was paying attention to Gary Johnson. And Gary was good in 2012. He was mostly good. He hadn't fried his brain from smoking way too much dabs yet. And he had some good talking points. He was vocally anti-war. I think he was working with Scott Horton on his anti-war messaging. I mean, he was mostly good, but no one was paying attention to him in 2012 whatsoever. Right. And so I started to, after what the Republican Party did to Ron Paul, I started to watch the Libertarian Party much closer, and I ended up joining right in 2015, rejoining. I had joined in 2010 briefly, rejoined in 2016, and a lot of that was due to Nicholas Sarwark, if you can believe that.
Really?
I saw Nick Sarwark speaking at some conventions, and he was a badass dude. He was like, your tears are delicious and your parties will die and we're going to win. And I was like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, all right, this guy's got me hyped. I was a Nick Sarwark stan. I liked him. And then the campaign with Gary Johnson happened, and I watched that absolute shit show, and I was just like, wow, this is terrible. And then come to find out later that Gary only ran again to pay off his campaign manager that loaned him $1 million for fucking some business that Gary started, and keep Rod Nielsen away from the party at all costs. But anyways, and then Nick started attacking people like Tom Woods and Eric July and Dave Smith, and I'm going, wait a minute here, dude. Like I thought you were cool. What's going on? And he really is the catalyst for the shit you see in the Libertarian Party right now. I like to tell people, Ron Paul got me paying attention. Murray Rothbard radicalized me, and Nick Sarwark got me pissed off enough to get involved. Right. And it's true. He was the catalyst for both sides of what's going on in the Libertarian Party around, right? He was the catalyst for all these people feeling welcome and comfortable in the party that were like wokest, leftist, calling everybody Nazis and bigots and transphobes and intersectionalist feminists and all these cult-like groups of people who are like hyper focused on this one issue. And if you don't support that one issue, or even in your personal everyday life, then you're not a libertarian, you're a Nazi and a bigot and a homophobe, and you need to leave. Right. And so I saw Nick was doing this. I saw Nick was this guy that was this catalyst for all this shit. And I was at the time working on a publication called Think Liberty. Some people may know it, some people may not. Great friends of mine, Vinnie Marshall and Lonnie Dupree and Caitlin Cloven. We all started it together. And I'm going, I've interviewed some big libertarians. I'm going to start calling some of these big libertarians, be like, hey, you got to run against this guy. He's fucking everything up. Like it's very clear that this guy is what's keeping this party small. I mean, anybody that was paying any attention whatsoever understood that whether he was a Fed or not, he definitely moved like a federal agent. Right. Yes. If somebody was going to come into your party and cause absolute chaos and do the ass backwards thing of what you're supposed to be doing in this movement, it's probably likely that they have a reason for that. Whether it's a federal reason or not, I don't know. I can't prove it, but I have my suspicions. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I called all these big libertarians like, hey, you got to run against this guy. You got to do it. Like, Larry Sharp and all these people. Everyone's like, no, you're fucking crazy, dude. He's a 2-term chair, one of the most popular chairs the party's ever had. He's a trial lawyer. He's a big business owner. I mean, no, and so I got to thinking, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do it.
I'll do it.
I'm going to run it. If nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to run for it. And so I helped with the help of my friend Matthew, wrote up this intent to run statement. It was, had a little bit of a platform, the reason why I was running, and it was basically like, we're going to run the socialists off. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was hardcore. I came out swinging. Like, I came out fucking swinging, and everyone was pissed. But I also, to be fair, I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. Right. Like, I was like, nobody knows me. I'm like, I've written 2 articles and done a couple interviews with people on our little stupid Facebook channel and shit, Nobody's going to take this seriously. And by the end of that campaign, I had traveled to 25 states. I had spoken behind Ron Paul at a ballroom at the Roads to Freedom Unconvention. I had endorsements from all kinds of great people. Larry Sharp did my nomination speech at the National Convention in New Orleans in 2018. And so it was like, it like blossomed into this big, beautiful thing. But I joined up with the Mises Caucus at the very beginning of this. And there was 55 of us in a Facebook group. We had no fundraising, no county or no state organizer, no national organizer. We couldn't endorse candidates. There was nothing we could do. And it was just an idea in a Facebook group between Michael Heiss and a couple other guys. And then I come along and I'm spamming the group. I'm like, look, dude, you guys are the Mises. You're representing the Mises Caucus. You want to bring the Mises back into the fold, into the party, and make this a radical party again. Great, dude. I want to be your chair candidate. I know I don't mean much. I'm sure you guys can find someone better, but I want to be the guy. And so I took that whole caucus on my back, and I traveled to 25 states. I spoke about it to everyone, and I'd show up to these states and get booed, man. I went to Texas, and there was a group of people walking around kazooing at me and shit. Like, people fucking hated me. You know what I mean? And it was because I represented this wind of change, this group of people who wanted to take their little positions of fucking power that they had got themselves that make them feel special. And I just never gave up. And I mean, they attacked me and attacked me and attacked me and called me a deadbeat dad and a drug addict and a homeless drunk who can't keep a job and oh man, God, they went after my grandmother like less than
Wow.
a year after my grandfather died. They talked shit to my mother. They reached out to my children. I mean, they really fucking did everything they could to fight me and the Mises Caucus. And so it felt like an uphill battle because you're right. It is stupid. The party's stupid. The people are fucking dumb. They're
Mhm.
idiotic. They're woke soldiers who don't care about fighting the state. They only care about their little positions of power. They only care about being virtuous and righteous. And it's like, dude, we have an impending nuclear war with Russia. We just went through 2 years of the worst fucking tyranny you could possibly imagine in your lifetime in this world,
Mhm.
right? Where politicians locked us in our homes, told us we had to take medicine that we didn't want. I mean, it got so bad, and here you are fighting me, right? Instead of going down to your local courthouse or state house and telling them to get fucked, right? So don't tell me you care about fighting state. But anyway, so I'm way off here. But anyway,
No, no,
so
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so that was the idea behind the Mises Caucus, was to start replacing these people, and Pennsylvania was kind of like that was like the
Well, hang on.
last
Let's
stand.
hang on. Let's hold on to
Hey,
Pennsylvania for a
you
second.
brought up
I
last
know,
weekend.
I
You
know,
brought
I
it
know,
up. You
I
brought
know.
it up.
We're gonna talk about
But
it
anyways,
because I
so
was there and it
that's
was amazing. But
that's a history lesson on why the party is the way it is.
yeah.
Um, and now you can see that it's changing all around the country, and there's a reason for that as well, and that's the Mises Caucus. So
Yeah, I mean, and I'm so excited about what I'm seeing because like when I woke up and left the left, which was a little over 2 years ago now, I like when you wake I don't know if you've had this experience, but like I really had no idea what was going on in the world. And then all of a sudden I started red pilling and I started like seeing all the things that I had never been shown by the media I trusted and all this stuff. And I started traveling around and everywhere I would go, I would talk to people and I would always be like I'm not a conservative, but I'm definitely not on the left anymore. Like fuck them,
sure.
they're awful. But like I had no idea what I was, and everyone was telling me they're like, "Carlin, you're a libertarian. You're a libertarian. You're a libertarian." I'm like, I don't know about that. The libertarians suck. But I was kind of trying to keep an open mind with Joe Jorgensen,
Oh,
and I was
sure.
like, I was listening and I was paying attention. And I was like, okay, maybe I can go that direction. I mean, like I agree with some of this stuff. I hadn't heard of the Mises Caucus yet at all.
Hold on. You'll notice that I
Yeah.
didn't even bring up Joe
Oh, and
Jorgensen.
then there's reasons for that.
That's how forgettable she was. Honestly, I'm sorry,
Well,
Mama Joe, but you were just boring and forgettable.
no, I mean, and it's true, and it's like I didn't think she was a bad candidate up until you know exactly what I'm gonna say.
We can't. We. It's not enough to be anti-race. What is it? God damn! I always mess it up. It's not enough to be against racism. We must be actively anti-racist.
Yeah, and Black
I don't give
Lives
a shit.
Matter and all that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
she had and I've now learned that it wasn't her that actually tweeted that out, it was someone else on her campaign,
Sure.
but, like, whatever, like, when it happened for me, it was around the time when I literally went viral on the internet for being chased by a Black Lives Matter mob. So
Right.
I was like, "Fuck this, I'm out," like, the Republicans suck, but I'm not going on this woke leftist bullshit. And then something funny happened. I was, like, on Twitter one day, and Nick Sarwark, who I had heard of, but I didn't really know who he was, started attacking James Lindsay. And just for like no apparent reason. And I had no idea who he was, but like I will have James Lindsay's back at any moment. I'd be like, fuck you, dude.
It's because
And
he's
then,
anti-CRT, and Nick wants CRT pushed down the throats of
oh,
every child in America, and he calls himself
exactly.
a libertarian. So
Exactly. It was so ridiculous and stupid. But it happened to be the weekend before the New Hampshire Libertarian Party convention where he got noted.
that was
And
beautiful.
and so I
Thank you
was
guys for that.
oh, it was amazing. And
I owe
so
you all beers.
it was I started fighting Nick Sarwark on Twitter, not knowing who he was, and then 3 days later, I start getting DMs from like all these state reps that I was working with on the anti-CRT bill in New Hampshire. They're like, "Did you hear what happened at Libertarian Party? Nick Sarwark got noted." And I have like no, and I was like, I have no idea what that means, but that sounds awesome. And a week later, I think I was having beers and a pretzel with the Mises Caucus organizers in New Hampshire, and it was all downhill from
They're good
there because
dudes. They're good
they're no,
dudes and
they're
ladies.
they're amazing. I mean, and it's like for me, getting involved with the Mises Caucus has given me hope again. It's given me hope that like there are people that do have their eye on the ball, and even though the Libertarian Party is a shit show, I have faith that it's going to change,
Right.
and that's because of what the Mises Caucus has been doing for the last several years.
Well,
Uh, Go
well, and
ahead.
it's so it's a different kind of shit show than it's been for the last 20 years, right?
Mhm.
What's up, Chris? I like Chris Baker. He's cool.
Yeah,
You
he's
should
a
check out
good
Chris's
guy.
book if you get a chance. I have it
Mhm.
around here somewhere. And yeah, it's a different kind of shit show than it was, right? It was a shit show of wokeness proportions for a long time. Now it's a shit show because there's growing pains and because
Mhm.
it's kind of the death nail, right, of this part of the party that's just kind of been stagnating for a couple decades and doing nothing. And now they're like, oh no, we're losing all of our positions of power. So they're like, racist Nazis, you got, yeah, this, that, and they're all freaking out. But they can't do anything. We're too strong. We're way too powerful now. It's over, and I was, I'll go back to Pennsylvania when you're ready, but
Mhm.
that was kind of the Alamo. That was kind of the last stand, right? That
Well,
was
let's
it.
talk about that because okay, so there's been so much drama. Like I joined the party, I think about a year ago now, and within I think a couple months of me joining the party, there was the New Hampshire coup. And I distinctly remember when all that shit started because like on the Signal group, all of a sudden the guys in the LPNH were like, "Why is access to our Facebook taken away? What's going on?" And then there was the New Hampshire coup where they were colluding to try to take over the New Hampshire party. And then there was crap going on in Delaware, and then there was crap going on in Massachusetts. And in the meantime,
And
you
New
know,
Mexico and
and
Arizona and there's a lot of
everywhere.
states. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's like the most dramatic party I've ever been a part of, and it's fascinating. I actually
It's
made
like a
my hu
soap opera.
No, it totally is, and it's amazing. Like, I made my husband watch the entire 5-hour Delaware LNC meeting, and he was extremely grateful for that.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's incredible. But it all culminated
Is that
this
the one
past
where I
week.
called them all psychopathic cowards? I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure I did.
know. I don't
Yeah.
know. There are too many meetings. It all blends
Yeah.
together.
I
That might
hate
have been
those
your
people.
censure meeting. I don't know. Um, but so it culminated this past weekend in Pennsylvania. So tell us what happened in Pennsylvania.
So, okay. So a year ago, this past weekend, they had the Pennsylvania State Convention, and the Mises Caucus had been doing a lot of recruiting close to convention. And Pennsylvania has a 180-day rule. You have to be you have to be seasoned 180-day member to be able to vote at their state conventions. And you actually have to be registered as a libertarian voter in the state to get it done. But you've always been able to show up and register as a voter there at the convention if you need to, as long as you've been a member of the party for 180 days. But they have that rule, the 180-day rule. And in the entire history of the Pennsylvania State Party, they have always, at every state convention, every single time, dropped that rule, suspended the rules, and done away with that rule at the convention so that all the new members that are there were able to vote on party processes. Since it's their party too, they're paying to be there. Okay, let's let them vote. So last year, all these people show up. In-staters, I mean, actual Pennsylvanians, right? I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know. Is that what they call themselves, Pennsylvanians? Probably not.
Let's just
But
go with that.
yeah. So they show up and they don't drop the rule. There was some fucky stuff with the credentialing. They were trying to not credential people that should have been credentialed. It was a mess, and they were calling people Nazis and shit, and it was really bad. So so another rule that Pennsylvania State has always had is that out of state people who become members of the Pennsylvania State Party can come to the Pennsylvania State Convention and vote.
Mhm.
So we,
They
so we,
even send you
yeah,
cards.
they even send you Pennsylvania state cards. So I know I signed up the day after the state convention last year. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to Pennsylvania. I made a post
Mhm.
about it. I wanted to go really bad. I hate that I wasn't there, but people from all over the country became members of the Pennsylvania State Party. Carlin, uh,
Mhm.
Dave Smith, I think Tom Woods joined. A lot of people did, and they showed up 300 strong or 260 strong this past weekend, and told those losers to get fucked. And that's exactly what happened. They lost by huge margins on everything they tried to do.
Overwhelming.
Overwhelming margins. I mean, 260 to 60. I mean, it was crazy. And they took all the board positions away from them and instituted all Mises Caucus board members and took every single. And let me tell you, the Pennsylvania State Party is the fourth largest delegation to the national convention behind California, Texas, and Florida. They're the
Mhm.
fourth largest, and they took every single delegate slot except for one, I think. And I think they gave it to somebody who was, I think they gave it to somebody who was like a reasonable middle person.
Yeah, like
Um,
a
yeah,
friendly person.
yeah. And so they took every single national delegate spot in the state, and basically people resigned. John Waldenberger, who's been a thorn in everybody's side, got up on stage and resigned, and to
Mhm.
thunderous applause. It was very beautiful. Nick Sarwark threw a fit. In an Ovechkin jersey with his little ode to Russia, I guess, and it was it was really wild to watch. these people kind of have their breakdown after the whole last year. They talk shit to us and said, you'll never beat us. It doesn't matter. You're not going to beat us. And it's like, dude, we beat you in, I think that's 30 states now, dude, 32 states or something. We've got you beat in more than half the states in this country. We have taken your little shitty positions of power away from you. And now we're coming for the national positions, and that's gonna happen in Reno. So get used to it. If you don't want to see it happen, don't show up. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna walk into that convention. We're gonna take everything we want to take, and you guys are gonna go home losers. And you deserve it for putting this name of this party through dirt for the last 50 years, for the way you've treated new members, the way you've treated this caucus, the way you've treated your duties as officials, your corrupt, slimy politician tactics. I'm going to be there to watch your faces, every single one of you, when you realize that it's over.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited about going to Reno. And I just want to make it clear for people who haven't been following this as closely as like Joshua and I have. But so essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, from the last national convention, the Mises caucus was actually pretty close.
I was 100 votes away from being the national chairman in 2020, unfortunately. And we think that they probably cheated. It was a hybrid convention. Half the convention was on Zoom. Half the convention was in person in Orlando. If you were there, there's no doubt about it. We had the room. It wasn't even there. I mean, everybody that was there, there stands maybe 50, 60 people were definitely chanting "break the cycle" when the debate happened. And we don't know what went on online, but there's a lot of people that were like, hey, there's some fucky things going on with the votes here and stuff. And all the motions leading up to the chair election had about 650 votes. And then all of a sudden the chair election had 970, right?
Oh yeah. I'm sure that's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a coincidence. Yeah. And then the same thing happened with Karen Ann. Same thing happened with Karen Ann's election as well, but she won, and they didn't expect her to win. And we know that they didn't expect her to win because as soon as they announced those results, Nick Sarwark went running up to the aisle mic and started objecting, and the other candidate went running up to him and whispered to him, and then went up on stage and conceded, right? And I'm like, yeah, that motherfucker didn't realize how much support she had, and they didn't pad the votes enough, is what happened. But I didn't want to be the Trump like still the vote guy, so I was just like, whatever, dude, it's cool. I got reelected as an at-large. Only person who got more votes than me for at-large was a sitting state senator, so I think I did pretty good there. But we basically were able to, I mean, Spike Cohen as the vice presidential candidate was directly because of us. You know what I mean? We couldn't get Jeremy Hornberger to be the president. But we were able, or Jacob Hornberger, I'm sorry, I said Jeremy, but we were able to kind of push enough of our people to get Spike to become the vice presidential candidate, so that Joe actually had to campaign with somebody radical, right? Whether Spike and us agree on everything or not, it didn't really matter. But no, Reno is not going to be a hybrid. We will not vote to. Sorry, I saw. Oh,
it's okay. Yeah, Nick is asking.
Yeah, Reno will not be a hybrid. It'll be only in person. We are not going to vote to allow online delegates ever again, ever.
Yep. And we got some other super chats to get through here. Hang on. I want to bring up Nick. Nick was actually with me getting chased by the Black Lives Matter mob.
Oh,
so he says I'm throwing fists next time we get chased.
Is he black?
He is black. He is black. He is.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wrong kind of black, Nick. Sorry, buddy.
Exactly. Well, he was with
your life.
So that makes
your life doesn't matter to them, right? Yeah.
And then says, "Can we fix Delaware, dude? There's been some shenanigans going on in Delaware. Delaware is a whole there was a splinter group in Delaware.
Yeah, but Delaware's fixed already. We already. They actually.
It's cool now.
Yeah, our judicial committee made a decision on that and gave it back to the rightful people. And the rightful people held court and kicked the usurpers out. And we got we got the Bill Hines website up on our site now for the national. I mean, it's fixed.
Oh, good. That is fixed now.
So now we got to go. So now we got to go and try to do the same thing for Massachusetts, which is, I'm working on a motion for those guys too. You did skip Sean Patrick's super chat,
I know. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to come
very
back
sad
to
right
it.
now.
I'm going to come back to it. Okay, fine. We'll just do the super chat now. Josh, are you coming to Porkfest?
I'm going to try my very hardest, dude. And I want you guys.
We are going to shame you relentlessly if you don't show up.
I know. I want to go so bad. What I want to do is bring my family. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to end up just being me, because I can pull something like that off. I don't know if I can pull off 5 kids and the pregnant fiance, but
I don't know. Jeremy Kaufman camped with 3 kids last time.
Yeah, but we're gonna have when is it again?
End of
Uh,
June.
yeah. So my fiance will have our new baby August 21st. And so she'll be very, very pregnant, and then we'll have a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, 6-year-old, no, sorry, 7-year-old, uh,
Yeah, we know you got like
9-year-old
18
and
kids.
a 10-year-old with a pregnant fiance. And for those who don't know, we are working on adopting another one, so we have another infant too. So it would just be a lot for all the kids and stuff to go. But I want to go. It's been like my life's dream to go to Pork Fest. Okay. I want to
You
go.
need to
I'm
come.
gonna try.
You need to
And
come.
while we're here, I want to go out on a limb and endorse the Free State Project. I think it's one of the probably the best
Yes.
vehicles for liberty in this country. I'm 100% on board. If it wasn't for our ties in Iowa right now, we would live in New Hampshire. There's no doubt about it. I think the more the more libertarians are just people who want freedom. I don't even care if you're a libertarian. If you're not trying to go to New Hampshire to cause more government tyranny, then I think you should move there, and I think you should try to roll back the state in every single way possible until you guys have a complete free state. So I endorse the Free State Project. I think it's a great thing.
No, the Free State Project is awesome. I also just want to introduce Nick. You need to connect with Dave because Dave is in
Yep.
Delaware, and he can get you in the Libertarian
Yep.
Party in the Mises
Absolutely.
Caucus.
Dave
So,
is amazing.
no, I didn't get to meet Dave in Pennsylvania, but I'm sure we'll see each other at some point
Oh,
down the
you'll see him
road.
in Reno. He'll be in Reno. Dave, you'll be in Reno, right, buddy?
Everyone
You
will be
better
in Reno. Conrad, thank you for the super chat. What do you see the major opposition players in the LP doing once they lose in Reno? Okay, I want to intro this one a little bit before. Well, so I want to go back and just make sure that people understand what's happening and why Pennsylvania was such a big deal, because it wasn't actually just about Pennsylvania. So the Mises Caucus has basically been taking over state party after state party, getting a majority of the delegates in many
in a legal and legit way, by the way, not in a
legit
corrupt
way,
way whatsoever.
totally ethical, by getting people to come into the party, by getting people to vote for them, by being activists and doing all the right things and saying the right things and that sort of stuff. And so what's going to happen is, like last time in the national convention, the Mises Caucus was this close to controlling things. In this time around, we've gotten so many delegates at this point that they can't catch us. And Pennsylvania basically made that a lock, that unless they pull like major shenanigans, they can't catch us. Am I right about that?
It's not even close. It's not even close. And like, I know Michael and them guys are keeping the delegate count really close to their chest. I know. But I've been following along, and I know I know it's a lot.
I don't know what the official count is, but I can count numbers.
I know.
Okay, I can look at states and I can look at numbers, and it's not that close.
I personally know the count, and I'll just say we still got a lot of state conventions left to go. Okay, there's no doubt about it. But we took California, we took Florida, we took Pennsylvania. Those are 3 of the 4 biggest delegate states. I know 100% in my state of Iowa, we took every single delegate. It's only 11, but we took them all. I know that Delaware is going to send the right delegates, so we'll get all 1 or theirs, and then I think they actually get 2 or 3. But no, I've been watching, I've been paying attention, and even in some of the states that we don't have, we've gotten half delegation. So I wouldn't be shocked. I'm telling you, I would not be shocked to see us 61 to 74%.
Yes,
I would not be shocked at all.
That would be amazing. So which means they're going to lose big time in Reno. And I think it's starting to sink in for them, the amount of crying and complaining.
They shouldn't waste their money. They should just stay home.
Did you read Nick Sarwark's essay?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It
was so good. So what do you think they're going to do once they lose in Reno?
Self-harm. Probably. I don't know. I think I think that a lot of them are going to go to the Democrats. I think that we've already seen that happen with like people like Jason Weinman and those losers from the Nevada party. Once we took the Nevada State Party over, they all left. They went to the Democrats or became independents. I think that's what a lot of those people will do. I think they'll fuck around and realize that without their little positions of power, they're really meaningless in the grand scheme of this fight. And hopefully they'll stay the fuck away until they can read a philosophy book and come back and fight for the real thing. I don't want look, in the words of a very wise, very short, redheaded, glasses man, my good friend Michael Heiss, once said that, look, we're in a war with people who will napalm your children for resources. We don't need people that are offended by words. We need soldiers. We need soldiers, and that's this whole President Solenko bullshit, right? He says, I don't need a ride, I need ammo, right? Like that's us. No, that's literally us in the state, in this country right now. Like we don't need pussies that are worried about being offended by words and associations and bigots. Like I don't give a shit about bigots. Like I don't care. Like if you want to start your own Ruby Ridge and be a bigot in your little bigot community, I don't give a fuck. Are you going to roll back the state so that me and my kids can move to some great multicultural state where I can have Mexican food every day? Cool, perfect. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I don't care. To me, the fight for freedom is much more important than trying to flatten how everybody speaks to each other, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't care. Like I don't give a shit. And I don't want those people around because all they do is bring us down. They hold us back from fighting for real issues. You know what I mean? And so they were embarrassing, and I think they'll go be embarrassing somewhere else. They just won't embarrass us anymore. And if they stick around, they'll be sitting in the back seat. That's for sure.
It is amazing to me, like in watching this whole thing, how much like a good portion of the party really do view it as a social club. They get up and they're like, this is about winning elections, but they aren't winning any elections, or they're winning like these small local races, which there's nothing wrong with small local races, and I don't want to diminish that, but like they're not bringing new people into the party. And anytime someone does come into the party that's new, they basically scare them away because they don't want to disrupt their social club.
Right. And they do it on purpose. I mean, anytime you step out of line, I mean, one way or the other, if you're not going to do if you're not going to go out there and fight the homophobes and the transphobes and the racists with them every day, wake up in the morning, hit Twitter, denounce racism, go out to your local grocery store and Karen everybody that's saying anything you don't like, then they don't want you there. And it's like, nah, dude, this isn't what this party's about anymore. It's not about that shit anymore. We are going to be a libertarian, liberty forward, fight the state party. Look, John Brennan went on national television, called us all domestic terrorists. Okay. Nobody gives a shit about your Karening anymore. You know what I mean? Like we're now considered, libertarians are now considered national or domestic terrorists to these, I mean, these elites, right? These United States elites. I don't care. I don't care about words. Like words don't mean anything to me anymore. This is about the survival of my family, the freedom of my children, the freedom to educate them how I want to, the freedom to not have to worry about going to jail for smoking a plant, the freedom to not have to be spending my money to support this warfare state, the Federal Reserve not inflating us to oblivion. Like these are the things that I care about. And if those aren't the things that you care about, then get in the fucking backseat until you do. You know what I mean? Period.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Well, Sean Patrick says, Josh for vice chair of the Libertarian Party. So
Thanks,
you're running for vice chair.
This
was like, you kind of came out about this not too long ago.
Yeah, it's been a while now.
Wow. Why are you running for vice chair of the party?
Well, I ran for chair twice. I ran against my arch nemesis in 2018, Nick Sarwark. I lost handedly. Nick did kick my ass. I think I got 11.5% of the vote or something like that. Which was pretty good for a blue collar guy that nobody fucking knew. Yeah. And then I ran again in 2020. Nick knew that I was going to beat him in 2020. He knew that. So he begrudgingly stepped aside to let this this other little rat fuck Joe Bishop Henchman run.
A more apt name and no one has ever had.
Yeah. And so Joe ends up beating me by about 100 votes. I'll always put an asterisk next to that campaign, that election. But and so I've been an at-large on the board for two terms now. Both times I won an at-large seat after losing my chair run. So I have a really good working knowledge of how the party runs, how our staff operates. These are really important things to the party, right? And so I'm a big fan of Angela McArdle. I want Angela McArdle to be the next chair of the Libertarian Party. I want to be there to support her and help her with anything that might arise, with the actual organizational knowledge of how the party's run, because she's never been on the LNC, right? So she's done plenty of leadership. She's been great in LA County. She's been great in California State Party. She's traveled around. She's met a lot of really great people, but there are some institutional things in the party that need to be worked out. And I think that I can do a good job of helping her figure out what she wants to do with some of these institutions that need to be changed, and how we can go about it. She's a very smart woman. I'm not taking anything away from her, but I just think I have some of the institutional knowledge to help that out. Plus, as a vice chair, I can work to bolster our media programs, which I think is really important for the party. We've sucked at media for years and years and years, and so I'm a pretty good I'm a decent media guy with a lot of friends that are amazing at media. So I want to bring that to the committee, and I also want to work to bolster programs like the Free State Project, but the Frontier Project, which is kind of like a Free State Project on a smaller scale in Wyoming, where we send out a bunch of people to target races that we can win, and that's how we started getting state house wins there as libertarians. So I want to do a lot more stuff like that for candidates. And I think as vice chair, I have a little freedom to do some stuff like that, of course, with the direction and help of the chair. But I also know how to run meetings and conventions, which is an important part of being a chair. And so if Angela was to have to step down or step aside or go to the bathroom, any of that stuff, I think I can keep a house of 1,200 unruly libertarians ruly. So that's something as well. So those were the reasons why I wanted to be the vice chair and why I wanted to run. We need to take all those positions. I'm not an olive branch guy anymore. I used to be an olive branch guy.
Well, they've lost their privileges. Yeah. Like the minute they started staging coups and kicking 2,000 people out of the party in Delaware and kicking people out of the party in Massachusetts over tweets, like they lost their privileges so far as I'm concerned. Right. It's like they need to have a little time out, and if they want to get their shit together and come back and be reasonable human beings, then there will be a place for that, I would imagine, but just like not right now.
Right. Yeah, no. And like I said, here's my thing is like, okay, you guys don't have to leave, but you're definitely getting in the back seat. You're not driving anymore. You know what I mean? Like, don't touch the radio. Don't touch the side view mirrors. Don't touch the review mirror. You're done. Like you are going to sit back there until you learn your lesson. And then you can come back and sit in the middle of the bench seat, right? Like that's it. Like we're done. There is no more olive branches for people anymore. If you look, I burned the olive branch. I should have burned it a lot sooner. I should have burned it the first time they called me a Nazi, right? Like, hello, you dumb fucks. My dad's side of the family was from Israel. I'm not a Nazi, right? I should have burned it the first time they called me a deadbeat dad. Hello, I'm raising 7 children. I'm the sole provider for a family and I'm by myself. Get fucked. I should have burned it years ago, but I kept trying. I kept trying because first of all, I didn't have the support to not, right? But then once I did have the support, it was still like, okay, you guys want to fight the state, right? If you want to fight the state, come hang out with us. And so they'd be like, yeah, I want to fight the state, but this is how we're going to fight the state, by fighting institutional racism. And it's like, whoa, dude, cool. Like, not really my thing, but I'm going to go. I think the brown people dying overseas are a lot worse off than, whatever perceived racism you're dealing with in, I don't know, like Oakland, California, right? And so yeah, I went and like Sean says in his latest super chat there, I went from handing the olive branch to burning the olive branch and giving absolutely no mercy. Complete body bag, 100%. I'm done. No more olive branches until you can prove to me that you have what it takes to fight this war against the state. That's
exactly. Well, Sam says if you need volunteers post takeover, DM me. And guys, I do want to encourage everyone to support Joshua's campaign for vice chair. The link is in the description below, so make sure you make a donation there. Let's see, we got a $4,200 goal. It's not a lot of money, I promise you. It's not a lot, but it helps me stack state conventions, which I have to make it to all these state conventions while I'm raising 7 children and being the sole provider and doing a show. And listen, I do a lot of shit, but if you like what I'm saying and you like what I'm doing with the Libertarian Party, you like the work I've been doing over the last 5 years, think about donating. I appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot to us. Definitely. Nick says he'll connect after he raises hell at the GOP convention. That'll be awesome, Nick.
Good.
George says you should stream around this time more often. I finally catch something other than nothing remotely controversial live. I just finished work. I'll try, George. We'll see.
By the way, this is my time slot for my show, in case you're wondering. 7:30 Central Corn time, I call it. 7:30 Corn time.
So Josh has a great show. It's called Break the Cycle. I've linked to his channel in the description too. I encourage everyone to go and subscribe. He is actually one of the few. You are one of the few channels on YouTube I'm actually a member of.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Carla.
But
it gets you into the After Hours podcast.
Exactly. When you had my friend Eric Matheny on, he texted me while you were on. He's like, "We're talking about you." I was like, "Oh, I gotta sign up to be a member."
I'm about to have Eric back on the show again.
Eric is a great guy. He's like one of the true people. He's always been very supportive, just like awesome.
Well, it's funny because he's got like a really large following too.
Oh yeah.
and he is so like cool and down to earth and like, I mean, just really
I
nice guy.
I gotta tell you, after the stuff in Ukraine broke out, Eric was literally the first person to text me to be like, "How is your family doing?"
Wow, that's really
Like,
cool.
he's just, like, a really genuine guy. His wife is great too.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome people.
That's your family, your in-law family, right? They're from
Yeah,
Ukraine,
so
right?
my husband is from Ukraine. My husband's brother actually just enlisted in the army, and he
Oh,
is being
geez.
deployed. He's gonna be guarding a nuclear reactor. Yeah, his entire family is in Nikolaev, which is being surrounded by the Russians now, and they're basically shelling the city. So fun
Right.
times, fun
Yeah, it's a
times.
little scary.
But America should not be involved.
You said sorry earlier. Are you from Canada?
No, I'm not from
Okay.
Canada.
You said
No.
you
Oh
said
no.
sorry, and I was like,
I am
"Damn,
from
it's
I'm from Vermont though, so maybe some of that
oh,
accent
close.
slipped
Yeah,
in.
close
It's
enough.
too close.
It
So
came in
so
with the maple syrup for sure.
well, no, we have our own maple syrup
I
in
know.
Vermont, dude. But Nathan asked, so we talked about some of the big states that we won, like Florida and California and Pennsylvania. What about Texas? What's going on in Texas?
So Texas is a different kind of state. The way they do, so they have like county conventions, and
Mhm,
they have to nominate uh, delegates to their state convention from their county conventions, and so it's like a completely different thing. We have no idea. I mean, the Mises Caucus there has worked their ass off over the last 5 years
mhm.
to make it different than it is, and so I'm cautiously optimistic that we will get a large portion of the Texas state delegates, which I think they get about 82 or 87
Mhm.
delegates to the national convention. California gets like 103, and so I'm cautiously optimistic that we will have a large percentage. Probably not a majority from Texas, but we don't need a majority from Texas to win. We needed the majority of California. We got a lot. We got about 92% of Florida's, which is
Wow.
Florida is like 70 something delegates, 72 delegates. We got 100% of Pennsylvania, which is like 48 delegates. So I mean, we're doing good. We're looking really, really good. So, but Texas is a wild card, and it could bring our average down a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat us unless they're going to have to put a whole lot of their people on that
Well, they
slate.
they are inviting Vosh to their state convention, which I was like,
Yeah,
did you see
they
Vosh got
disinvited him
wait,
though.
did they?
Yeah, that's
I
from
didn't
what
hear
I
about that.
understood. Yeah,
Did you hear that Josh or that Vosh got slapped down by J.K. Rowling on Twitter today?
no, but I'm not surprised at all. That's
Oh,
beautiful.
it
I
was
love J.K.
amazing.
Rowling.
It was a beautiful thing. She basically called him an abusive, like, husband or something like that. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Sin says, "I'm very surprised how much I like
Oh,
this
that's
Joshua."
very sweet. Thank you very much, and I
Sin
appreciate that.
Sin is an excellent judge of character.
Nice.
Let me see. What else do I have on our list to talk about? Oh, I have to ask your advice because today I watched the episode where you had John Hudak on your show. And that didn't
That
go
didn't
very
last long. Yeah, fuck that
that
guy.
didn't go very well for him. Basically, he was on for about 2 seconds before you booted his ass off the stream. But I'm having him on my show tomorrow, and I'm not really sure what to expect out of this conversation, to be honest. But what
Circular
advice do you have?
logic. Just be prepared for circular logic. Anything that you say, he's always going to bring it right back around to, well, the racism. That's what he does. Listen,
Yeah.
it sucks, okay? Because Hudak has become like this annoying fucking bugaboo in the movement, right?
Mhm.
But I have a soft spot for John Hudak. Like, honest to God, I do, right? Like the dude was my really good friend.
Oh.
Like I stayed at his apartment with him and his fiance in Miami when I was down there. We went out, had drinks. Like I've known Hudak since 2016. I brought him on to Think Liberty from Dankertarians. And then I was one of the founders of Fakertarians, if you can believe that. And it was, Fakertarians was this thing that was going to be used to, fight the Trump Clinton era, not to go after libertarians, and it became this thing where one of the people that we started it with, who was also a good friend of mine and an ANCAP at the time, decided he was no longer an ANCAP. He was a anarcho-communist, and he started going after Eric July or Larry Sharp or something. And that's when I pieced out. I was like, nope, I'm out of here. Fuck this. Like I didn't start, I didn't come here for this shit. But I think I brought John Hudak on there too, maybe. And initially I was going to do, I might have been a little more woke in 2016 or whatever, but I was going back and forth and at it with Augustus Invictus, if you guys know who that is, who is pretty proud of his racist stuff, but he was also like harming my liberty movement. And so I was kind of going back and forth with him. I was going to write an article on him. I ended up doing an interview with one of his friends who became a friend of mine, if you could believe that. And then kind of we haven't been close for a while, but other shit happened. So that's why that's why I was a part of Fakertarians back then. And then when I realized what it was going to be used for, I pieced out, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And then they cultivated this online group of people that were basically harassed my family for a long time. And so it was like, I got to a point where it was like I used to have private communications with John, right? John Hudak. And still, even when this shit was going on and everybody was fighting and shit, I was like, I'd still talk to John and be like, yo, dude, I just want you to know I still like you. You're my friend and shit, but I don't like what you're doing. I think it's stupid. And then I'm trying to think when the real falling out was when he wrote a big long letter to the national committee saying that I needed to be removed for having
what the hell?
Or having someone on my show that he didn't like, Ryan Dawson, and calling me a Nazi sympathizer and all this shit. And I was like, all right, dude, that's it. You know what I mean? Like I put up with a lot of shit from you. Like I said, you cultivated this group of people that attacked my family. Literally a group of people operated inside your group that reached out to my, at the time, 15-year-old pregnant, homeless daughter that I was trying to get custody of, and bribed her with fucking money and a cell phone to make a bad statement at me while we were at the national convention, while I was running for chairman. Okay. These are the people that you deal with. These are the people that you run in circles with. These are the people that you allow into your group to operate in your group. Okay. And I put up with that shit with you, right? Like, you're my friend still. But once you started trying to get me in public, in trouble with things, that could affect my job and my support for my family, you're dead to me. I mean, that's it. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, there's no more like, okay, we're friendly. No, dude, don't talk to me. Don't text me. Don't call me. If you come to my house, I'm probably going to beat your ass. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's it. Nothing else to talk about, because you're now affecting the things that help me provide for my children. And so, that really happened. That's a legit thing that happened.
Wow. I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
They reached out to my ex-wife, who has issues, and they were living in cars and stuff. And got a hold of my daughter, because I had posted on there that, my daughter and I talk, and I'm not abandoning her. And I posted a screenshot, like, I love her very much. So they reached out to her and said, hey, we'll give you this money and a cell phone. They crowdfunded money and said, if you make a post about your dad, being a deadbeat or whatever, who I have custody of, by the way, now, in case you're wondering. And I take care of her and her daughter and her two siblings that aren't mine, that I adopted, and our own child, and my fiance's two girls, and the child coming on the way. And my daughter's mother had another baby in January that the state took from the hospital.
Wow.
And we're going to get him as well. So that's the other one that we're adopting. So they can say whatever they want. My daughter imagine using a vulnerable 15-year-old girl for your own political bullshit. Right. And so my daughter feels terrible about it. She feels really bad, but they were homeless and needed money. And so they did whatever they could to get money. And then my ex-wife, who's got some issues, like I said, had to threaten them to get them to send the money.
Oh my God.
Yeah, can you believe that shit? So I know all about it. I've never talked about this publicly, by the way. It's the first time your show is the first time I've ever talked about this publicly.
Well, I'm gonna grill him on this tomorrow. I'll be like, what the hell? If he wants to go into some like sort of like immigration open borders rant against me, I'm just gonna
he's gonna bring up your Holocaust statements over and over and over and over.
Please.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
You know what bothers me most about people bringing up the Holocaust statement? It's just that people are being so uncreative at this point. It's like I answer the same question over and over and over again. Like, I've got like tens of thousands of tweets, many of which are more spicy than the damn Holocaust tweet. They could go find any number of things that I've said. They're just so uncreative about it.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, and it's like they, and they try to, with the actual racist things that some people say, and I get it. Like, I even talk to some people who have made racist statements in the past.
Yeah.
They always try to equate me with that stuff, and it's like I'll dare any one of those people, any one of them, to ever go and find something that I said that was racist ever in the history of my life.
I did a whole month of research on an article where I called out legitimate white identitarians. I have several streams on my channel where I'm actively going after white identity,
Yeah.
like real ones, not
Oh
fake
no,
ones, like
I know,
real
because I
shit.
had you on the show.
Oh yeah, and they attacked your
And I
stream.
actually
You
had
were,
to moderate my chat. It was the only show I've ever had to moderate my. I got
yeah,
real close with Josh Denny because he has some people who really hate him.
yeah.
And but he said, no, let them go because they're going to start super chatting. And they did. They started super chatting my show so that I would
Mhm.
ask him questions. He's like, I'll do this all night, dude. I was like, all right, all
Yeah.
right, cool, let's go. So, but with you, I actually had to start moderating my chat and during the show. And then I had to have my fiance go up there and start moderating the
Oh,
chat
I remember
because it's
that.
bad.
This was back in June when they first started attacking me, like the first wave of attacks from these
Yeah.
people. And I remember I was going on your show. I was like, "Do you have a moderator for your chat?" And you're like, "Yeah, they'll be okay." And I was like, "All right," because they had been brigading my streams
Yeah.
all week. I was like, "We're gonna see what's gonna happen now."
Yeah,
And then it was within 5 minutes. It was like,
after like
boom.
the 20th inward bomb on my chat, I was like, all right, gotta stop this now.
Yeah, it's
Whew.
legit, but, like, I went after these people. I wrote a whole article about them condemning not only them, but also the conservative media who lifted them up, and, like, Tucker Carlson had one of these people on his show and all this stuff, and I did all this stuff, and it's like, no, I'm a racist because I sent a tweet about a spiritual belief, but they wanna completely ignore every other bullshit I've had to deal with from
Right.
these people.
Right, and that's what I tried to explain to him too. I was like, I think she was making like a spiritual because I'm gonna be honest with
Yeah,
you, I didn't even really understand the tweet to be honest.
because it
But
was out of context of a larger
yeah, yeah,
conversation, that was
and
why.
I was like, yeah, I think she was trying to make like a spiritual. I don't think she was saying that like all the Jews wanted to die in the Holocaust. I don't think that's
No,
what she was saying, and
that's not what I was saying.
I think that you're conflating it with something like that because you want to, and so I actually made that argument. Now I see those people just continue to talk about that one tweet, and I'm just like, oh, dude, it's so clear. Even to me who didn't understand the tweet,
Yeah.
it was clear to me that you weren't saying that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
I don't
mean,
know. I don't know.
it's clear to anyone that's taking an honest look at the situation. But whatever, we'll deal with that tomorrow at
Yeah.
5 p.m. You guys can come and watch that shit show. Medic Knight says Smith Borisenko
Whew.
2024. I don't know.
Why do you hate me, buddy? Why do you hate me?
I'm not running for anything. I guess I'm technically running for governor. We'll see how that
I've
goes.
talked
But
about if nobody steps up to be Dave Smith's vice presidential candidate, I might do it.
it'd be Smith and Smith. It'd be
Smith and Smith,
perfect.
yeah,
It's
but
like as cool as it can get.
only if nobody cough cough moisture nobody steps up. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll see how that goes. So I know kind of you need to wrap up here in a minute
Sure.
because you've got 18 kids and you got to do whatever you got to do. Is there anything else you want to touch on for tonight?
No, I think it's good. Look, this is what I want to end with
Okay, do it.
before I plug all my shit again.
Hmm.
Um, Listen, I know that the Libertarian Party has been an embarrassing cesspool of bullshit for many, many years. Okay. If you're watching this and you're not a libertarian, give us another chance. Seriously, give us another chance. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. I get it. Come around after Reno. Reno is in Labor or Memorial Day weekend in May. It's the
Hmm.
last weekend of May, going into June. It's going to be a fucking blast, by the way. If you want to come to Reno, our national convention is literally at the Golden Nugget Casino in Sparks, Nevada. It is
I'm
going to be
so
a blast.
excited.
It is going to be an absolute blast. But come around after that. You know what I mean? We'd like to have you now to help us in this fight, but the fight that we started 5 years ago in 2017 is almost over. We have almost won. And it's very, very clear to anybody that's been paying attention over the last year that it's over. So come and check us out next year. Please just give us another chance. I promise you this Libertarian Party is not going to be the embarrassing cesspool of bullshit that it has been for the last couple decades. It's going to be something that we can all be proud of. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in liberty, if you believe that the state has overstepped its authority in your everyday life, it's going to be the party that's going to be pushing back against that. And we're growing. It's the fastest growing party in the country. It's the only growing party in the country, by the way. And I think that you guys will see something that will make you proud and will get you hyped for the fight again. So come check us out. LP.org sucks right now, but I'm telling you, after June, LP.org is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be amazing. I keep telling people, and I swear to God, I'm not shilling. The Mises Caucus has given me hope. Watching what's been done and what I think is going to be done in the Libertarian Party after Reno gives me hope. It makes me feel good. It is the ultimate white pill. So I really do hope people will take this seriously. It is going to start changing, and I think it's going to be really amazing. Nick says, I want to go to Reno.
Come
Nick,
on out, buddy.
you can come to Reno.
Let's
It's
go.
going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And then George says it was clear to anyone reading that tweet in good faith. Yes, indeed it was.
I agree.
Well,
I agree.
Josh, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me at Twitter. That's where my war with the blue checks is. At Break Joshua. At Break Joshua. I always mix it up with my old one because I used to have 20,000 followers on there, and then Twitter kneecapped me for saying the word death in a tweet.
He did.
And so now I'm at like 5,700 again. I'm working back. And then of course I have the YouTube show that I have been kind of sparsely doing. I do have a show tomorrow night with the founder of the Mises Caucus and the special guest, the very special guest, cough Dave Smith, cough, tomorrow night, and to talk about the Pennsylvania State Convention. So that'll be a fun conversation. You can find my YouTube channel at youtube.com/fight the despots. That's DESPOTS. And of course, if you go to my Twitter, that pinned link at the top of my Twitter is where you can donate to my travel fund for state conventions. Because if you guys don't understand how the state convention process works, there's like a state convention every weekend. So as many as I can get to, the better, because that's where I get to meet delegates and people that will be potential delegates that will vote for me in Reno at the national convention. So I would appreciate your help. It is not cheap. Every single state convention that we go to, if I go alone, it costs anywhere from $600 or more between hotel rooms and food and flights and stuff like that. If I take my whole family, like I am, to Michigan this coming weekend, it can be much more expensive. So please do. And I will be in Michigan at Ann Arbor at the state convention there Friday and Saturday this week. And I know I will be in Minnesota at the end of the month, and then Texas next month, and some others as well. So if you're in any of the states I'm in, I'd love to say hi and buy a beer and pick your brain. So thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thanks for supporting Carlin, and Carlin, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and guys, I do have all the links that Josh mentioned in the description below, so you can find them really easily and make sure you support his campaign. Josh, thanks for coming on. It was amazing, as always. Guys, just so you know, we do have that stream with John Hudak tomorrow. That's going to be, I know. Well, this is the photo he sent me, as it is what it is.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
But also, you can, what's great about this is you guys can go watch Josh's show tomorrow night with Michael Heiss and his special mystery guest, Dave Smith. Talking about the Delaware convention, or not the Delaware, the Pennsylvania convention. And then you guys can spend all Friday with me where we relive the first day of this convention. There was a legitimate fight that broke out. It was amazing. Well, no. Kind of, almost. We're going to bill it like that. But
there's Heiss. That's my buddy that's going to be on the show tomorrow,
exactly. Too. This photo is like the most iconic photo that has ever been taken. I love it. But guys, that's all we have for right now. Please mount that like button on the way out the door. And as always, if you appreciate the work I do, please make sure you become a member in my locals. That's kb.locals.com/support. You can do it for $5 a month. You can also do it for $50 a year, which gives you 2 months for free. You can also make a one-time gift. We've got our Craft and Bitch coming up this weekend. You can take part in that and all sorts of extra perks that you can find out about in locals. All right, Josh, thanks for coming on again, my friend. Have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you guys soon.